Okay, so I've been trying to decide what kind of wedge to use. I want some surface support, because it's obsidian. Surface support on the edge a little bit, but I don't want to trap too much because those flakes were blocked where there was, they weren't going past the middle. So to keep flakes from traveling far, you can stop them, but you don't want to stop them into a hard anvil because then it will cause a little step. So you can use a little section of wood. You can use a hard piece of leather, or you can use a wadded, harder leather like this so I can gap, or I can use my anvil stone. But I don't like using the anvil stone on obsidian because if you just barely rock on the back edge, you can really damage stuff. And it's slick, so it tends to slip more. So let's just see. I think this point would have been even maybe a little longer than that. And I've got all kinds of width. And my thickness is just about spot on. See the little careful trimming, the little short flakes for the retouch? I think this antelope is going to do well for that, although I might need to work in the hand to do that, so I might need to switch to buffalo for that edge retouch. But otherwise, we can see it looks like this is going tip down just in these areas here that run in. And this one there's kind of skipping around. No, actually, yeah, this looks like it's tipped down here too. Let's look at this side. So flakes that overlap consistently this side, you can tell ordered sets, but it looks like there's some cleaning that's going on, so that won't matter. And there'll be variance with my retouch, so. But some of these flakes are pretty wide. They're overlapped a little bit, but the main thing is not to get too thin-edged and try to keep some even thickness on the edge. Boy, that's a beautiful piece of obsidian. Anyhow, let's just not overthink it since I haven't used the pronghorn. Let's just try to pressure flake and see where it takes me. This might be too sharp a point. It is really for this stage. But let's just get into it and see how it goes. I might have to cut it off or I'll be hitting myself in the nose with this thing. I'm gonna sort of just have my hand here and I grab it comfortable right in there, and so I'm just gonna sort of rock in. I'm just gonna hit the thick areas of the edge, sort of. Gapping back. I want to not trap. See, I can make that gap there. Need to do some shorter flakes, just keeping straight in my edge here. Get everything real nice and even and evenly thickened first. Hope my knee's not getting in the way. Gary, cool guy. He this was a roadkill. And the end of it had skidded across the road, he said, so I just had to touch up a little bit. I'm just dulling to grab. That one slipped off a little bit. We'll see what it looks like. It should be wider at this point and narrower. Let's hit heavy spots on this edge and then we'll give it a shear. And we'll try to do a little bit more spacing. Part of that lack of width though is the narrowness of this tip. That was a double. I don't want to make a habit of that. I don't want to get too tight in here, so I'm gonna do a little back and forth and then catch up here. That one ripped across, and I mean to do that. Got a lot of width here, and I need that. Oops. I'm trying to. I probably need to be more like this. I don't want to hit the phone. Probably not ideal for me to record this. It's not super comfortable yet. See how I'm wearing to the top? I don't want to get something too heavy on the top and then flake it off this way. So I'm going to keep an eye on that for now, and then might have to grind it. See that? It'd really be more comfortable to do this. Can you see that? Maybe not. Part of it is my, I'm getting a little angle on my tip. But I want to keep that straight so I'm not twisting. Let's do a couple more, take the thick spots off, and then we'll do a shear. And then we'll get our shape right, and we'll maybe switch to a little harder anvil so we don't run past middle. If you get on a heavy spot, just kind of take little flicks to relieve. Okay, let's do some shear. I'm going to switch to a better shearing tool. I'm glad I have all this thickness on the edge, despite that one flake being stubborn, because I'm going to need that. Back and forth, evenly thickening, kind of straightening. I don't want to do too much of that because I want my pronghorn to be less stuff on there. I'm still really wide. Right, that should be a little better. Let's see, should we... It's grabbing pretty good. This thing came off a Dalton site in southeast Missouri. They picked it up for some reason. I turned it into a nice anvil stone. I need bigger flakes, but this tip is still kind of narrow. So I'm just try to chip clean and try not to get them to go too far. This is really good workbench. It's flat and I'm gapping really good, so I'm just going to control the angle. Sorry, I keep looking. I can't really see what's going on here. Ooh, that stepped into that spot. That'll get taken care of with my basal thinning flakes. And see, that one was going tip down. I think I'm going to have another series to go, though, so I don't need to do exactly. You just learn a new tool, just kind of see what naturally works well, and then you can fine-tune it for ordered flaking later. It's a wide initiation. See, the harder anvil is causing those flakes to, the angle's consistent, so I'm getting more of a Allen or Dalton-y looking tear in there. I might have to switch to the softer angle if that keeps happening. It's a little flatter. Okay, let's do the same thing on this side, and then we'll have to switch over to go that way. Might need a little basal. I'm gonna have to go to my big regular issue. I don't think I'm comfortable enough with the mechanics of this to get the right long basal pressure. So we'll see how it goes, but I might have to switch to the composite buffalo when I get to that point. Let me take a little one here, see. little short one here. You need a bigger one there. One more and then we'll go tip down. I'm going to do a little bit more. These are going to be like agate basin, sort of parallel sided and then more abrupt tipped. So I don't want to get too pointy. These things have more of, I think, of like a Goshen-like outline, or agate basin. Okay, time for another shear. I don't like how that this initial punch flake, remember that one punch flake that went really wide? It gives me a slight balance issue there, but I've got enough depth, I think I can overcome that. I might have to punch down and go a step further with the punch. To get that flatness. I'm a little too lenticular. There's areas that are kind of flat on that other one, which I like. So I might have to just punch down small and block more. You know when you watch somebody flint knap on their video and then they go like that and they miss the flake on a leather pad? I do that. It's so annoying because it's still there. It's like the OCD chalkboard thing. A lot of you guys are too young to remember that I went to class and the teachers would have like a eraser and then they'd have like a little oilcloth and they'd clean it. And some of them were meticulous and did the same thing, sort of accepted it, and other times they missed a spot. It's like I guess that's sort of mild case of OCD I might have or something. That's normal, right, though? Like, everybody's like that. I'm distracting myself from... Yeah, I'm a little too narrow in my pattern. Let's keep our width here and then work in this area and then just do random stuff and then put a base on this and say good enough for a first try. I was using my style. I'm amazed I haven't lost this thing. Well, our edges are pretty centered and our thickness is just dead on, but the patterning is too narrow and our flat spot on this one side is not great. I can smell that basil. That smells so good. This, I'll tell you what doesn't smell good is the stinky hole in this goat horn right above my nose. And look at those little hairs in there. That's pretty gross, I must say so. The basil really stands out when you get your nose away from this thing for a minute or two. I just got some plants that are pretty dyed. I think I'm just going to stuff some basil on the end of that, sort of mask that odor. Sorry, back to why you watch this channel. You don't watch it so I can be a vlogger. A little wider. Little one. Okay, like that. When you look and you have to do those little flakes to get the edge raised or lowered, it's really important with the buffalo to have the right edge thickness and position so that you're not trying to get too high and push through something. I'm just dulling, and I'm also feeling for embedded glass fragments in the end of this thing. You can see I'm just dusting. I'm dressing the tool as I'm finding bite. I do more of this later stage because the tiniest things can make the edge crush. And use wear will help with that. I mean, when you use this thing, that naturally just creates kind of sometimes ideal edges. Ooh, that was cool. When the edges get more uniform, the energy delivery gets easier, and the amount of force that you need is less. Can you see that? Now some nice little blending retouch. Boy, I'm really happy with that thickness for my first go round. Let's look at our width situation. I mentioned the grinding on this thing. It's got a little squareness on the bottom. So we'll give that bottom a good grind, and I've got plenty of room to get in there and do some big pressure. And all this is last. Except for a tiny bit right here. That's intruding on that side. Everything else is done last, so. We're still way wide. But that can be fixed with some. You can probably see better than me if that thickness is right. Oryx. Maybe I'll get my oryx horn out and do some pressure to get in there. Now, when you black for pressure, if you just push into leather, your flakes will stop at your support. So sometimes you'll get like you can get a little shim that runs this way that holds it up a little bit. Because if you just put your anvil stone back here or your leather back here, you can fold. You're pushing so hard, you can fold the point there. So, and a stone anvil on the edge can rock and crush. So if you get you a stiff piece of leather that runs this way, that's thick enough, or a piece of wood, and that works pretty well. Okay, let's do a little nibbling. Today's the noisiest day. I'm just going to do light brushing. It's really easy to, at this stage, to shape and get in and over thicken stuff. You just want to really be gentle, unless you get a little fine point. Obsidian is hard to finish and photograph and have it look. You can make a nice refined point and take a picture of it. It looks like a preform. At this stage is where the little ash will mess with you a little bit. I don't want those flakes to go too far. I just want to. This is a situation too where if you anvil that, if you get on something harder, that edge won't rock down as much, and you can really block those flakes. So at this stage, I'd just push on the back a little bit more. Yeah, I need to be pointier. I don't want to dig around the bag, it'll take me forever. So what I'm going to do is get it set up here for my basal pressure thinning. And then I'll do the retouch and just put it on Instagram, because I'll have a bunch more time nibbling around on this thing and getting my widths right. These are just contour building. And this side, I've got that wide punch flake like I said, so these flakes are gonna just thin into that. They're not gonna rip up here or anything. Let me grab my oryx horn, and I could probably get in with this thing and do pretty well. But I think I could do better with my giant Ishi stick. So let's finish it up in a part 3. See how I'm starting to work on the base a little bit, and just getting in there and getting some setup flakes. So I'll come in this side, and then I'll pressure flake some longer flicks on this face, and then I'll turn in and do this one. I'll be right back.